Okay, now we're going to make our soil support structure. What we're going to do is cut this center part of this lid out, punch a bunch of holes in it, cut a centerpiece out so that it will sit on top of the wicking basket that we just made, and that will support the soil in the bottom of the bucket. Now, one of the first things that we need to do is to mark where we want to drill the holes. So one of the things using the Sharpie marker and any kind of straight edge, I like to use a level with a sharp edge. And notice each one of these little flanges here are opposite each other and go right through the center of the bucket. So I just come along here and I draw a line like this from one to the other. Then I rotate 2 times 2 flanges, and then I line up right across here. And I rotate 2 flanges, and I line this up, and then I rotate 2 more of those marks. And now I have the top of my lid with some radial lines on it that I'm going to drill holes in. Okay, now since we want this to sit on top of our wicking basket, what I'm going to do, this is thick enough in this wall to support this lid. I'm just going to kind of center this piece of pipe over the little dimple in the middle of the lid, and on the inside, not the outside, on the inside I'm going to use my Sharpie marker and mark a circle. So there's what we have. We have radial lines. We have that we're going to drill into. We have a circle that our bucket is going to sit on top of the wicking basket. And now all we have to do is drill and cut. Before we drill, we need to mark the holes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, from this point to the outer edge of this line, I'm going to put 3 holes. I'm going to put one about in the middle. I'm going to put one close to the wicking basket and one close to the outside edge. And I'm going to do that all the way around. And so that I'll try and be as uniform as possible, I'm going to do all the center ones first, because I can visually estimate the center. And I'll do all of these first. And then I'll go back and do the inside ones. Right here. And now be careful, because I got to have the thickness of the pipe wall. And then I'll go back and do the outside ones. And I want to stay a little bit away from the edge, because we're going to cut this lid out along the edge here. So we want to be as far away as possible. So now I have the hole in the middle that's going to be cut out with the saw or with the utility knife, and I have holes around the outside edge that are going to be drilled, and then we will be cutting the outside of this lid at the edge of these flanges. So this is what we're going to do with the lid, and this is what will support the soil inside the bucket. Okay, now I happen to have a workbench here that I can close up and make a fairly narrow gap. This is 3 or 4 inches. And all I want to do is support this lid while I'm drilling the holes in it. I want to drill the holes first, because when I cut this out, it'll be flimsy. This edge of this lid gives me some rigidity. So I'm going to go ahead and start drilling these holes. It goes fairly quickly. I line up this line with the center of my gap here, and I just start drilling. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Turn around and line up the next set of holes. And just keep going. I'll finish all this and come back to you. Okay, so I finished drilling all the holes. You can see that they're all lined up here, all 3 on each side, all the way around. And that's all I need, because what's going to happen is that's going to provide air. There'll be an air gap above the water, and then the soil will sit on top of this, and the air can percolate up through the soil. That will provide the roots the oxygen that they need. So now what we have to do is we have to cut this center hole out, and we have to cut the outside edge out. You can certainly do that with your utility knife. I have done it with a utility knife. It's not fun. If you have a jigsaw, I would recommend using it. Okay, I have my jigsaw here. This is a middle of the mid-range product. It's not the top of the line, and it's certainly not your standard $20 one that you're going to get at the big box store. I have a very thin blade in it, as you can see. The blade has a large number of teeth, and this particular saw doesn't have very much of a stroke. The blade doesn't move very far, but it's plenty enough for me to cut one lid. Were I cutting several lids at a time, which I normally do, I would have a longer blade. And you need the fine-tooth blade because if you try and use a blade with coarse teeth, you're going to wind up bouncing this lid up and down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by inserting the blade down into one of these holes near the edge, and I'm going to use the edge, the strengthened edge of the bucket to hold the lid to hold it in place while I just kind of turn the lid under the jigsaw. So just bear with me and we'll go through that. As you can see, it's a fairly quick operation. I have the ring left, and I have the lid. So this is what's going to support the soil. This I'm going to use to hold the black plastic in if I want to use the black plastic. So I'll set it aside, and now I have to cut the center hole out so that this will sit on top of the wicking basket. Same operation. I'm going to start in one of these holes that are very close to where I want to cut. And here I have my support for my soil. As you can see, the wicking basket will sit right there. We'll use twist ties to tie these two together, and this will sit on the bottom of the bucket. So we've got more of our parts completed. As a matter of fact, that's all the parts that we need. So now we'll start putting all of these together.